and welcome to June the 2nd, where we're reading 1 Kings 11 and 12. Now, these chapters cover the end of Solomon and the beginning of Rehoboam, the end of the United Kingdom, and the beginning of the divided kingdom. And as we get into these, you'll kind of understand why. In 1 Kings 11, Solomon ends up giving himself over to a bunch of different women. Now, God had commanded kings not to marry a bunch of women. Solomon kind of violates that by about 1,000 of them. He has some problems. And so Solomon ends up turning aside to other gods. He is distracted. He is drawn aside. He is pulled away off into idolatry, and God curses him because of it. When Solomon was faithful, he was very blessed. But now that he's not faithful, he is very cursed. And God ends up stirring up rebellions against him from external nations that do not like Solomon or his rule very much. He also stirs up some internal rebellions against him, particularly with one man named Rehoboam. And as you get into the second half of 1 Kings 11, what you're introduced to is this man named, not Rehoboam, Jeroboam. If I said that wrong, whoops. He's introduced to this man named Jeroboam. Now, Jeroboam is a servant of Solomon. It says so in chapter 11 and verse 26. And he ends up rebelling against the king Solomon because he just doesn't like how Solomon is handling a lot of things. Well, God sends Jeroboam a prophet with a promise that God will give to Jeroboam ownership over 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel after Solomon is dead and gone. And so Jeroboam receives these things. Jeroboam's going to be the new king in the north as soon as we get around to the end of Solomon and to his son Rehoboam's reign. Of course, Solomon tries to kill him in violation of God's command, trying to stop the plan of God, which obviously doesn't work. Jeroboam runs away for a little bit until Solomon dies. Then he returns back to Israel, and that's where we get into chapter 12. Now, in chapter 12, Rehoboam takes over Solomon's throne as the king of the United Kingdom. However, early into his reign, he's approached by Jeroboam and the people of the north who say, we really don't like the slave labor we were put to under your father. Can you please make things a little easier for us? And Rehoboam, after hemming and hawing and really seeking validation for a bad decision he's about to make, says, no, I'm not going to make things easier on you. In fact, I'm going to make things more difficult for you. To which all of the people say, okay, then we're done. And the kingdom officially splits into two. You have 10 nations, 10 tribes in the north. That becomes the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, led by King Jeroboam. And you have the kingdom in the south, led by Rehoboam. That's called the kingdom of Judah. It's just two tribes, not very big at all. They try and conquer the other 10. It doesn't work, and so ultimately those two split off, become different kingdoms, and we'll see the fallout of that as we check back in tomorrow. I'll see you then.